Everyone, welcome to episode 13 of the Part of the Noob Show. Hope you guys are having a great Saturday. For those of you in the Twitch channel this morning, we apologize for the technical difficulties, but you know technology is made by humans, so, I mean, what are you going to get, right? For those of you on YouTube later in the week as you watch this, you won't catch any of that if you're listening to the podcast, wherever you download podcasts later in the week. We do appreciate your support out there. Get plenty of views on the YouTube channel as well. Please make sure you're giving comments in there on those videos. Give us any suggestions, things you like, things you maybe don't like, or things you want to see, as we're always open to feedback. The man sitting right next to me is the OptimusMagnum. Tone, what's been going on this week, brother? What's new?
I got a job.
Yes.
I got a job. Yes. I start September 20th. So I'm going to enjoy my rest of my time off. And game and stream. I streamed. I did a takeover on Ggr this week. That was fun. We played some retro games, and I'm gonna continue to do the same thing I always do. Oh, and I have an update on my boombox. I don't know if I've told you this, but I have a boombox coming.
Okay.
It's a Bluetooth boombox from Kickstarter. It's called Replatronics. They make arcade machines and stuff like that, but it is dope, and I cannot wait to get this thing in my hands. And finally, they've given an update, and it's supposed to be coming in December.
Are you gonna rock that like up on your shoulder?
I might. It's a mini boombox, but it's a replica of an original, and it looks so cool. And it also comes in two sizes, so it's like I think it's like a size like this, and then there's like a smaller one, like a little tiny one. Both are Bluetooth and both work really well. Like one you could take to the office with you.
That makes cool. This gives me memories. My dad used to have one when I was growing up, probably first or second grade. And it was a cassette tape player or radio, right? It was a tuner and a cassette. That's all it was. And there was 3 freaking huge speakers in this sucker, and probably some tweeters in the back you couldn't see.
Yeah.
But it was like 4 foot wide and probably 2.5, 3 foot tall, with this big bar that comes up over the top that you just carry it with. You had to be a freaking He-Man to carry that thing. But so I understand why you got this positive vibes coming on that one. I wouldn't mind carrying one of those myself. You have to take a picture when you get it and throw it up on the shoulder. And,
absolutely. I will absolutely do it. It'll probably be behind me in my videos because I'll be so happy that thing will
throw the hands behind you like this and kind of do the whole
Yeah.
Absolutely. I hear you might have picked up something the last couple of days, Tony. You're not telling us the whole story what happened this week. You've been in a quest to find something for a while, and I think you did.
I forgot about that. Okay, so I have a dream game, folks. I have a dream game, and this game is just near and dear to my heart because I had 3 different versions of it, and I sold them all when I sold all my consoles back. I sold a GameCube, an Xbox original, and a PS2 back in the day, and with it, I sold those games with it. And that was like in 2006 or 7 or so. Flashback to now, I've been trying to get my hands in this game, but it's been going for like $150 to $200 every time. And this week, I got my hands on it. It's Def Jam Fight for New York on PS2, complete in box, along with Def Jam Vendetta complete in box. And I got it for, I'm not going to say how much, but I got it for a low, underpriced charting price. Both of them together, actually, underpriced charting price. And I got lucky. I just swooped in with 20 seconds left on the auction, put my bid, and I said, screw it, I'm going to put my bid. And I got it for way under what I even put my bid for. So I was like,
dealing in auctions.
Oh, just the relief. And I think I'm going to stop collecting now.
It's it.
I feel like I don't have to keep collecting. Like if games come up to me and you know, and I see some games here and there, I'll get some, but to me, it feels like it's complete, like with that in the shelf.
So I just got all these ideas for you to take pictures of yourself this morning, Tom, but maybe you need to hold up the games in some kind of picture. I need to put like collection complete. And tweet that out, Instagram that out, TikTok that out everywhere.
Oh, you don't even know how happy I am.
You're at peace with your collection now.
I am. I'm one with my collection. Be like this with it in the room.
Why not? Do it with the boombox. Let's get all 3 of them in there at the same time. Well, sounds like a good week. Gonna get a couple weeks of freedom here left, or at least another week of freedom here before you start the new job. Congrats on that. That's always, when it's time to push and get the job, it's always I know it's a little unnerving. So congrats to you on ending that segment and kind of feeling in the good space now that you got one coming. So me this week, just been for what turned around to be a 3-day morning stream. When I went back to mornings, it's turned into 5. I've been working from home, so I definitely do all 5 days now. And even if I go to work onto the site on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I still get up early and stream for just a shorter period of time. So make sure you check me out on Twitch every morning, generally about 8:30 Eastern, sometimes sooner. It just depends on how fast I peel myself out of bed and come to, depending if there's coffee involved or not. And as always, I'm pumping out shorts all the time on the YouTube channel. Make sure you go check those out. Been working hard on those this week. Didn't have as good a week this week as last week, but I don't think I'm going to top the 41,000 view video anytime soon again. So never know, but we'll see. So today we've got a lot of gaming news. We're kind of heavy-handed on the gaming news today, and after all, it is a gaming show, so shouldn't be any problems with that. Before we get there, though, Tone's going to start us off with some GGR updates.
Yes, sir. So Mondays, every Monday, be sure to check out the Geek Corner stream with Matt's Geek Corner and Peter Byte. And this week, they'll be having a special guest, our own Play Beat Delete, or PBD, as we like to call her. I love to call her PBD because it reminds me of BBD from Belle Biv DeVoe. You know that ABC. It's boys to men. ABC BBD. But anyways, they will be playing Shantae, and they will be playing that at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time this week on the GGR Twitch channel here, of course, right here. And they will be doing co-op on the Switch, so it'd be fun. I think they did a remaster or a remake of it, and I think that's what they're going to be playing this week.
Do you know on Geek Corner on Monday if PBD is going to be on the show? Is she going to be flicking one of these open and opening anything, or
I'm not sure.
Is there going to be a night?
I guess we'll have to find out.
Yeah, you better have to tune in to find out if the night comes out or not. Because
PBD will take a butterfly knife and be like, and then like that, and then open a package.
Talented with sharp things. Talented.
Yes, she's very talented. And also Tuesday nights, be sure to check out Raid Night, where we raid just random people on Twitch, invite them into our community, and just basically share a blast. We get a bunch of people into the channel. We get them all hyped up and full of sugar, basically. We throw out Skittles and M&Ms and all kinds of treats at them and get them all hyped up. And then we take them on into a raid and we just get other people hyped up. Last week, we raided Dunky Doozy, and I didn't get to see it, unfortunately, because I was actually in my Bible study group, so I'm sorry. But sometimes I can't catch it. But when I do, it's fun. But we raided someone. I'm sure it was a blast. I'm sure it was fun. It always is. We bring a lot of energy into those chats. The GGR does. And it's with Myogenics and Toodle McBooty. Toodle McBooty. Sometimes I call him Toodles, and so I combine the name. But Toodle McBooty. And check it out on Tuesday because it's an awesome show. It's at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. They start out a little late because Miles is on the West Coast, and I think Toodles is like Central Time. So it starts a little later. So
might be a little hot in Miles'
bring the
area.
energy and show that GGR love and support, and let's invite others into our community, which is, by the way, the best community, period. I don't care, I'm saying it, period, on Discords, anywhere.
It's no lie.
Fight me.
You say fight for New York's get into your brain a little bit. It's get underneath your skin just a little bit. Can't wait to play that one, I'm guessing.
I'm pumped.
He's pumped. It pumps. I'm pumped to do it. I'm Johans and I'm Franz, and we're here to pump.
Yes.
You up. Oh, great stuff. Moving forward to the GGR news, the weekly top 10 came out again this week. Week 69 came out as 5 shorts, and you guys showed out watching these videos. If you haven't, go back and watch them. Take you 5 minutes to watch the whole week. Having some good reviews out there from the weekly top 10. Make sure that you're posting your clips in the weekly top 10 of the Discord. This is how you make it in there. We don't just come out and it doesn't randomly appear, with you in it unless you're submitting a clip. Thank you for those of you that have been submitting the clips. We've had some new faces in there. We always love to see it. Make sure that you're putting your best foot out there. Next week will be week 70 already of the Good Game Report Top 10. 70. Pretty cool. Pretty cool stuff. Also, as Tony mentioned earlier, we've been doing a new thing on the GGR Twitch channel. We've been having streamer takeovers. So takeovers this week. Let's see. Tony did it on Thursday, right? Correct. I did it Friday morning. Friday night, Pete got in there. Am I missing any other ones from this week? I can't remember because I think Rhino was 2 weeks ago. Yeah,
I think that was all. Yeah,
we had 3 this week. Just make sure you pay attention to the GGR Discord. We're going to be advertising these. We're actually working on a bit of a calendar that we can put out as socials so you can know what to expect through the week for GGR shows like Geek Corner, Raid Night, PTN, and any Twitch takeovers that are planned for the week. That way you can stop in and maybe even join us playing some games. You know, I'm open on Apex on Friday mornings to play with anybody who wants to play. So that's going to wrap up the GGR news for this week. Oh, you know what? Before I do that, there's one more thing out there. If you didn't check the announcements this week, we do have a survey out there. We'd like to know from you. It's a very short survey. It's about 9 or 10 questions. Won't take you any time at all to pop in there and give us some feedback. We want your feedback, right? There's a lot of questions in there about the Discord server and whatnot and the Good Game Report itself. We want your feedback. Please go in there. It'll take you 5 minutes, not even that, to go in there, access the Google form. It's completely anonymous, but we need your feedback to make sure we continue to improve this environment here in the Good Game Report. And we really care about what your input is to do that. So make sure you make some time. Stop in the announcement section. You can have the link right there. It's not too late to go ahead and fill that out. We've had a number of responses already, and looking forward to your response as well if you've yet to get in there. Moving on to gaming news. You guys think that we're going to leave this alone? You think we're going to let this stop and we're just going to not talk about this story? Wrong! Sure, none of you are surprised that we extensively covered this story for weeks now. Wata Games chief advisor accused of conflict of interest. Conflict of interest. And the story resumes. The chief advisor for game grading at Wata has been accused of selling in contradiction of company policy. Uh-oh. So Jeffrey Rousseau of gamingindustry.biz has written that proofwriter Seth Abramson has said that Wata's Mark Haspel, remember this name, we've been talking to, he's used this name before, been operating a side business on eBay, selling Wata-graded Atari games. Abramson discovered that 74 games listed on eBay by Haspel's account, with Wata ratings of 9.0 or higher. He put the total value of the titles around $50,000. Possible. It's not confirmed. Haspel has access to internal Wata population data because, you know, they're the biggest game grader out there. They got lots of data, right? They know what's kind of out there and what's not. Reveals how many copies of each video game that Wata's ever received or graded. So there's a probability that Haspel's only selling the Atari games because he knows the market's waning, right? There's not a lot out there. Due to a few people sending the games to be graded, so he might be taking advantage of it. We know previously, we've talked about it from the Carl Jobst video, Dennis Kahn said in the interview, and we saw it in that video, that company employees are prohibited from having games graded or selling games that are graded by the company. And of course, when they reached out for comment, Wata and Haspel want nothing to do with it. They declined comment. Tone, what do you think about this latest breaking news of the Wata conspiracy?
First, let me just say this: Atari games are not high in price right now, so they've been going down. So, like with stocks, what do? When you have an invested amount of money in something or in stocks, you either hold them and wait, or you sell them at the right time.
Mm-hmm.
And this is him selling his stock, literally. This dude, this company, it doesn't stop with them. And it's almost getting to the point where they're like cocky. Like, I don't care. We got more publicity, but you know what? I'm just going to keep doing what we're doing because we're not going to get in trouble.
Right.
And to me, this is a sign where need to stop sending your games to WATA to get graded. Wait for the other company, wherever the name is. I forgot what the name is of the new company that's coming aboard soon. And I think WATA might be either being purchased by them or something's happening with WATA, but there's another company and there's also VGA. Get your games graded by VGA. Even if it's a pain, get your games graded by VGA. Get rid of WATA. Make them stop by just not even sending your stuff to them. But people aren't, because people want money. They see this and they just see money. So people aren't going to stop. I get it. I understand people want, you have your games and you want to get as much money as you can. But when you're dealing with something like this, where there's just corrupt people and too much conflicts of interest, too much corruption, too much fraud, don't support that company. Don't do it. They've done it before. They're doing it again. Just don't support people like that.
Yeah, the bubble's popping as we speak, right? The bubble's bursting. The bubble they created artificially for themselves for profit is bursting right as we see this article here, right as we see Mark Haspel selling these Atari games. He's trying to cut losses. Just like Tony said, don't feed the beast. Don't send your games there. Refuse to buy games at obscene prices and feed the beast. Just don't do it. We've already popped the bubble, it seems like, here, and it seems like the air is leaking out at a pretty record pace. I can't wait to see what the next couple of weeks bring on this subject, as we're probably going to see some more fallout from WATA as far as people making dumb moves to kind of save some of their cash, right? Because at the end of the day, folks like this that do this to people and do this to manipulate a market, eventually they're going to have to look out for themselves. So you're probably going to see some of this stuff flying, and just don't feed the beast, folks. Don't do it.
Yeah. And before all this information came out that we've been finding out over the last few weeks, I have sealed games. I have like a ton of sealed games. I just happen to have them. Even I was thinking about it at one point. Like, should I send these in to get graded and sell them or whatever like that? And then all the information came out, and then the speculation that I had was out, and I had no intentions of sending them in. Not to WATA, at least. If I send anything in, it'll be to VGA or to be to some other company that I find out is legit, if I know they're legit. If there's something corrupt, then I won't send them to them. I just don't care. They've been on my shelf for the longest time. I'll leave them there. I don't care. It's not that big of a deal. I'm not in the mood. I'm not actually not looking to sell them. So it's just one of those things where I don't care. But yeah, I don't, just to me, don't support companies that are like that. I mean, you wouldn't support companies that if you found out were corrupt or doing certain things. What's the difference between this? Because you think you can make a few bucks. You can make a few bucks with other game grading companies as well. Just my opinion.
Couldn't agree more, Joe.
But moving on, current generation console shortage is happening. New gen consoles, the Sony PS5 and Xbox Series X, as we all know, has been hard to get. And now they may see further delays into 2023, according to Toshiba. And now, don't forget, we're in 2021. That's 2 freaking years from now, pretty much. According to Toshiba, Microsoft and Sony are among a group of companies still affected by the large shortage of materials needed to produce semiconductors, which will at least last for at least another year. Takeshi Kambuchi, I hope I said that name right. Sorry if I didn't. Director of semiconductors at Toshiba, recently was quoted stating that the supply of chips will remain very tight until at least September of 2022. In some cases, there may be customers not fully served until sometime in 2023. According to Bloomberg, the company plans to invest $545 million into supporting the production of semiconductors over the next 3 years. Toshiba is also considering adding another factory to accommodate the very high demand. And earlier this year, Microsoft, Google, and Apple formed a lobby group with aims to promote semiconductor manufacturing in the United States to help solve the shortage. Other companies as part of that group include Amazon Web Services, Intel, Hewlett-Packard, and more. So basically, if you want a PS5 console, you either pay your thousands of dollars for it from a scalper, or you wait till the new ones come out and hope that you get one.
Sounds like there'll be very limited quantity continuing to come out from both of those consoles.
Yep.
Which is just bad, right? It's bad. So I have a question here. So Toshiba's behind. Great. We understand. Whatever. COVID happened. They got behind. They moved their forces into doing different things because the production of these for games went down. They shifted their factories. Now they're coming back to it. They're way behind. Whatever. Why did it take so long for Microsoft, Google, and Apple to think about making semiconductors right here in the US? Why aren't we already doing that? Why is Toshiba the only company out there making heavy set of semiconductors? What what's the deal? Is it just too expensive to do? Because surely
Well,
it's not money enough. Surely it's not so expensive that it keeps them from selling their consoles at record levels. The PS5 as it came out was the best-selling PS console, period, of any console in its first X amount of months. We covered it here on the show. So why aren't they building a semiconductor factory stateside or somewhere closer that they have control over that they can get these made? What's going on? What do you think, Tone? What do you think about that?
to me, it probably comes down to stakeholders, shareholders, things like that. Board members, people that make the big money. They want to stay making the big money, so you cut costs by getting them made somewhere else, and that's unfortunate. I mean, to me, you take a pay cut. You take a pay cut. Let these people make them here. Let these people get paid, get jobs, make them here, and you get your money. You still get your money. You're just not getting as much money as you were making before, but you're still going to get your money. And it's sad because they want to send it overseas. And they want to wait for Toshiba.
Cut the profitability $5 on every 100, something like that, right? Take a little off the top, get it set to where you can continue to sell these. I mean, yeah. If you don't, the demand's going to remain very high. But what do you do if you actually end up tarnishing your brand? Because people see this inactivity, right? We can't be the only ones thinking like, hey, why aren't you guys making these yourselves? Why are you relying on a third party? Why does Microsoft and Sony not already have a supply chain of their own that they manage? It's baffling to me. People with all this money, Amazon
Making
Web
bad
Services,
decisions.
yeah, Amazon
Well,
Web Services is part of that too.
Yeah.
That discussion group. Like these are some of the richest companies in the world, and they can't get it figured out for themselves. They're still relying on somebody else.
It's because of the high ups. They don't want to lose money. So because of them, it trickles down to us, and we suffer. The consumer suffers. The people that don't have jobs making these parts because they don't want to put them there for them to do it, they suffer, and it's just
they don't care because at the end of the day, they don't play the games anyway, right? So what do they care?
They don't care. All they care about is the profit.
Bottom line. Yeah.
Yep.
Bottom line. Which they still make they'd probably even make more in gross if they got it going. They could sell more consoles and more games and more memberships to online stuff. It's the end game that should count for the bottom line, folks. You got looking at the whole picture.
They don't know that because they're not gamers.
Not looking at the whole picture. Gaming's been on the rise for a few years now, and if they have not figured that out, then someone's not getting their ear hard enough about what they need to know about how they can make even more money. And they're restricting their own income right now.
Yep.
Man, you don't love to see it.
No, you don't.
Oh, moving on to gaming news. We're going to go over to, we're going to talk about Kickstarter a little bit. So Kickstarter has become a thing. You heard Tony mention Kickstarter with his boombox earlier in the show today. Video game projects raised $13 million in Kickstarter during the first half of 2021. I didn't even know they were making games through Kickstarter until I found this article. It's very interesting. So Kickstarter's recently published its mid-year games report for 2021 through the first half of the year, through the first 6 months. So this year, there's been 649 video games submitted to the Kickstarter program, right? That's a lot. Last year, in the same period, there was 588, so that's actually a lot more. But, we've had some COVID slowdowns last year. That might be the reason why it's not more of a static number between the 2 years. But 184 of those reached their Kickstarter goal in the first half of 2021. 168 made their full goal last year. When they make their full goal, basically with Kickstarter, once they make enough money to a capped point, that's when they go out and do it, right? They're trying to raise the money, trying to raise the funds. If you think about what's that show on TV? Something sharks. What is it called, Tony? Where the guys sit up there and
Shark Tank.
Shark Tank. where they're trying to go up there and sell their business to these moguls sitting up there deciding with all the big banks. Big banks take little bank, right? Big banks trying to figure out if they're going to invest in little bank to make the right amount of profit for loaning them money. Kickstarter is kind of similar to that, except it's a little more public, right? Where anybody can invest. You and I could invest in a platform by purchasing like the boombox, like Tony did, right? To put it in its spot. So going back to the amount funded, there were 465 projects not funded this year versus 420 last year. So bottom line is $13 million raised in 2021 so far to get programs off the ground for games. So I had to assume these are like indie games and whatnot, right? These aren't main AAA kind of games. So at least we don't think they'll be initially, because they're not coming from the bigger corporations that have the money to make the games. But overall, 2021 has had a lot of stability in terms of the growth money wise. Not as many projects being funded, but steady flow of gaming traffic through Kickstarter with no decline in sight. So this is good news for us as gamers, right?
Yeah.
The more games that come out, the more we can check out. I know Bordeaux in the Discord here is constantly, he's made a new YouTube channel. He's been putting out videos of a lot of indie games. He's a big indie game guy, writes about them, reviews them, that kind of stuff. But some interesting games he's been reviewing lately. And this is what we're talking about. We're talking about games just trying to get off the ground. And who knows, maybe from these Kickstarters, maybe multiple gaming companies come out from it, right? We're used to all these bigger names and bigger titles, EA and all that stuff. Maybe there's new companies that form from this stuff. The report, ironically, Alex, actually looked at tabletop games, and this is kind of funny to see, but they've seen quite a bit of growth in tabletop games in the time as well. And 2,400 projects submitted the first half of this year, and just a little over 2,000 last year. 1,833 were funded this year. So it's not just video games that are out there. The gaming industry, period, even including tabletop games, with COVID and everything, we've been kind of sticking a little more to ourselves, a little more in our own homes and whatnot. Tabletop games are apparently turned up right now. Because how are you going to pass the time? Not everybody's going to go buy a puzzle and put it together, right? They want to be a little more interactive. So the tabletop games are doing very well also. It may be difficult to grab some of the newer generation consoles, right? Like we were just talking about for a bit. But the gaming industry is all about making more games for us to play with what we have. So it's kind of cool to show that. I think the producer is going to put a graphic up on the screen, and we have some information. It's a little graphic in there that kind of shows what we're looking at as far as what's been going on over time. You can see back in 2014, probably the height of recent years, the number of funded projects for video games. Wow. Just look at the numbers there. The numbers speak for themselves. I'm not going to read it to you because you guys have eyes. You can see that. But a lot of 10 to 50,000 going up this first half of the year. A lot of less than 10,000 too. So some of lesser expensive games, some more expensive games. You can see the 500, the $500,000 and up are just the top of the pie. But there's seeing some growth again. The second half of last year definitely closed strong. Seeing the first half of this year doing well in the lesser expensive game space also. So just wanted to share that with you. I thought it was an interesting article in terms of, hey, we may not have the consoles, but people are out there making games, so they'll be ready for us when the time comes.
So next gaming news is day off Twitch. We discussed this in episode 12.
Mm-hmm.
There was a protest against Twitch demanding more protection against hate raids. We've already talked about additional ways to protect yourself and what Twitch does, already had implemented in their channel to be able to fight off that. We even have it on our own GGR channel that we've implemented so that we can fight off stuff like that. But we want to share what the decline in viewership actually looked like on September 1st of 2021. According to Twitch tracking site, Sully Gnome, Twitch had 57 million viewer hours on the protest day. In comparison with trailing Wednesdays in August, they saw between 61 and 65 million viewers on average. That equates to a decline of viewership between 7 and 12%. The analytics firm also reported that a number of channels that streamed on 9/1 were down 7%, while to 834,000 people. Wow, that's crazy. In March of this year, Twitch released its first global transparency report that showed that less than 50% of user reports led to enforcement actions. It also showed that only 2% of reports against harassment and hateful conduct led to action. Last year, Game Industry Biz ran an extensive article where current and former employees at Twitch described it having a culture of indifference when it comes to inappropriate, unsafe, or abusive behavior.
I think that report
So,
right there. Sorry, Sean, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
That report right there that came out last year is kind of what fuels us a bit. It's been happening to a very small portion of the population out there on Twitch. I think there's probably been more hype than actual reports, but Twitch really doesn't do anything when it happens, is what I'm seeing here. The reports that do get put out, Twitch doesn't do much about it. So that's unfortunate. That's why you got a culture. That's why you got a group of people right out here that are they're in a spot where they want to take a stand, right, and take a day off of Twitch and show Twitch that, hey, you know, there are a lot of people out here that don't agree with how you handle stuff, right? So we've been kind of approaching it from the angle of, hey, you know, Twitch does give you plenty of ways to stop this stuff. We went over them in great detail already. This is not new. So here's the deal. Like, I get the other side of the protest now, right? You got plenty of resources to stop it, but what are you doing, Twitch, as it happens? When it does happen, it gets through and somebody's not doing that, taking the appropriate precautions to keep it from happening to them. We've seen all the accounts out there. Everybody knows the accounts by name at this point. They've been coming to the streams and following and just waiting for something to happen. So you're banning them from your account and from your channel and that kind of stuff. And, you know, it also didn't probably hurt Twitch too much. You know, we look at down 7% week over week on a Wednesday. Not huge. Unless you get the big streamers doing this, unless you get the big boys taking the day off. Twitch isn't going to hear this.
Yeah, didn't Tim the Tatman and Lupo leave on the same day of this?
I think Lupo left first, and then Tim left the day or so after, but they left prior to this happening. Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
So
because it's almost like it lined up with this. It was a little crazy. I was wondering if they kind of did it as the protest, but then it ended up just being their contracts were up.
I don't think so. I think it was just the contracts being up September 1st.
Yeah.
That had nothing to do with this. But I hope they're taking that. I hope that Sully Gnome took that into account and maybe subtracted them from the equation, because that would inflate this to be, you know, a little bigger, right?
Yeah.
Like what it looks like here. If they didn't take that out, then the protest was very minimal. I mean, they didn't even there's a gnat on my shoulder. You know, it didn't get them at all. So I'm very curious to see if those two were factored out of before and after equation in terms of viewership. Twitch, at the end of the day, Twitch does have to do better. When we report stuff that's bad, they need to hop on it. They need to look into it. You know, you're talking about their own employees, right? In this report earlier, the extensive article that this company put together describing a culture of indifference when it comes to inappropriate, unsafe, or abusive behavior. Like, they just don't care. It's like, hey, does it cost us money? Nah, okay, don't worry about it. Just sweep it underneath the rug. So I think that's Twitch's call out from this is, if it does happen and we report it, Twitch, do something. Get off your lazy keisters and do something about it. As I stream on the platform right now, I think that's the thing that gets people riled up. Obviously, the content of what people are doing is very offensive, right? It's not right, and we don't condone that activity here at the Good Game Report at all. But use your tools to try to prevent it. And Twitch, get off your butt. Go out there and get something done to where this is reporting. If we want to be able to report something like this, we expect something to happen, right? We're invested in the platform. We're subbing to our friends. They're subbing to us. People are subbing to us, throwing biddies all over the place. We're making money for you as well as ourselves, right? Which you take a far larger cut of. The last thing that we can expect from you, apparently, is to hold up when we say, hey, and we raise our hand and say, hey, you know what? This happened in this stream. Here's the names, right? Here's the report on this person, right? I would argue, and this is my hot take for the day, I would argue that Twitch does less for these reports than Warzone does for cheaters. There's my hot take.
I think they should ban IPs, not
Sure.
because these people are able to make multiple accounts and do whatever. Just ban IPs and just every time. It's just, what makes me mad about the only thing that makes me mad about this is I feel like it's a two-way street. I get it. Twitch has stuff. You can do stuff to take action, but you can only do so much. When something happens and you still need some help and you're a small streamer, like me, I'm a small streamer. If it happens to me and I've done my part, but yet somehow something still comes through and I still get stuff and something happens to my account, it's Twitch's fault and now, because you know what? They don't care. And if I were to tell them and they don't care, it's going to make somebody like me, like, why should I chose you guys to stream on. I'm not doing it on YouTube. I'm not doing it anywhere else. I chose you guys, and you guys aren't like honoring that or helping me out. But let's say I am, I don't know, Ninja, and that happens to me. Like somehow it happens to me. If I were to say something, Twitch would run to me. Oh, we'll do anything. We'll fix it. Then all of a sudden, they'll ban IPs. They'll do this. They'll do that because he's huge. He brings so many people to the table. But that's not right. Do it for everyone, not just Ninja, not just your big streamers. That's what makes me mad.
I think it's another sign of the times, right? In my opinion, Twitch is going in the toilet. They're the easiest monetized platform, which is great. And that's why a lot of streamers, especially small ones, use it. YouTube's got a lot of quirks over the, not even be able to play certain game audio without getting copyrighted and stuff like that. Yep. But Twitch, this isn't a moment to stand on your own 2 feet and get the stink box that is your name out of the air. Yeah. A lot of big streamers just leave you. And granted, you have lots of big streamers that are there making a lot of money for you. But if I opened your books, I bet they're not in the black. I bet they're in the red. You're 100% cost company to Bezos and Amazon. And how long are you going to exist if you don't do something to prevent stuff like this? You got to have at least, you got to have some of us on your side wanting you to stick around. At this point, you're making it to where people don't even want you to stick around because you won't do anything, right? Yep. They're willing to set their sails and compromise themselves on another platform and maybe not have the best experience on something like YouTube, which YouTube, if you're listening to this, man, you need to be all over this. There are several things that you could do very quickly and easily to flip the script here. You could shut Twitch down in a week if you just rolled out a few different things in your platform that made it easier to monetize, easier to do some of the things that Twitch does well. You would just take over the industry. YouTube would be it. YouTube would be shorts. It would be long-term videos. It would be live streaming. It would be everything. And I'm so really surprised that YouTube hasn't taken the full advantage of this. They've got the tools and resources, and maybe they're working on this. Maybe they surprise me next week and something comes out and it sways. But Twitch could get shut down tomorrow if YouTube took the right steps. Just filled a couple of their gaps. We wouldn't be talking about Twitch anymore. Twitch would be gone. That sucker would be dead as a doornail because everybody go over to YouTube. Yep. All right. I said I wasn't going to have any more hot takes, but this stuff riles me up. It's common. Common sense isn't common, Tony. It really bugs me. And you can feel how it comes out. It pours out of me.
Yes, sir.
Pours out of me. All right. Let's move on to some different news. The great nation of China is now banning their minors from playing games during the week. So if you're an esports competitor, you love this because folks over there in China, at least, one of the most populous country in the world, India being a close second, they're probably not getting as much esport practice as you want them to have. According to the Wall Street Journal, China's rolling out new limits on game playing by minors that will permit children to play an hour of games a day, Friday through Sunday, from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. New rules are latest in a series of measures that China and the Chinese gaming companies have adopted around minors' gaming habits. Apparently, gaming's warping their minds. They don't want them playing games all day. Early this year, Tencent launched a facial recognition technology into its games to prevent children from playing games between 10 p.m. and 8 a.m. Tony, is this out of the world crazy or what? What do you think about this?
You want the honest opinion?
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
honest opinion is it don't surprise me.
Right?
China's that kind of country. When they feel they're about they're not us, man. They're not
No. No.
they don't have freedom like we do, to say things, to have a podcast like this, to do things like that. Imagine if we were there in that country right now doing this podcast, we'd be arrested
It
like,
wouldn't have been
immediately.
happening.
Yeah, it'd
Episode
be
1, we'd have
arrested
shut down.
immediately. Yes, episode 1. During episode 1, we'd be handcuffed. So it's different there. So you got to understand like where they're coming from. That's what they feel. It's kind of how they, see their kids as they and not to mention though, you got to also think you look on this side of the pond from their perspective. They're looking over at us. They're seeing lots of youth playing tons of games, wasting time, not getting their education. Some of them, now granted, some of them stream, some of them make money, some make YouTube videos, some of them doing well for themselves. But not everybody's doing that. There are some kids that are wasting their time gaming, not doing what they're supposed to be doing, not getting their good grades in school, not paying attention to their parents and doing the right things that they should be doing, their chores and stuff like that in life in general, how we did growing up. And so they look at that and they don't want that for their children. So they're doing this. Now they're going a little extreme, like really extreme. But when you're looking at it from their perspective, they see us and they probably think we're stupid. And that's their way of combating it. Now, in my actual opinion, I would die if that would happen to me. Like, I love gaming.
Right.
Gaming has been a big part of my life, and I've had my parents and people say gaming is just a waste of my time. When I was a kid, what are you doing that for? It's stupid. You should be doing this. And then, everything was about something else that they wanted me to do, where I love to play games. That was my way of doing it. It kept me out of trouble, kept me out of the hood, kept me out of the thug life, I should say, and some of the stuff that my friends were doing.
Absolutely.
So for me, it was a big part of my life. So for me, looking at it that way, I don't care. Like, I would never be able to deal with something like that, but I understand why they do it. But I also know that it's just a little too much, too much.
So I definitely think this falls at a different level, right? Parents got to regulate this. Parents, and these days, I think parents these days are pretty lax. I'm not trying to open a can of worms here, but the government should be telling us what to do on how to raise our kids. But they apparently feel that their parents can't handle the responsibility. I think that's a parent's responsibility. You set some guidelines around gaming. I mean, yeah, I agree. There's probably some folks out there that are playing games, and not balancing it with life. I think that's the key. Is we love playing games. I love playing games, right? I do it 5-6 days a week. But I also balance it with my everyday life because I do have things that have to get done to keep the ball rolling. Money's got to come in to pay the bills, that kind of stuff. So there has to be a balance there. And I think it falls on the parents just to really make sure that their kids locked in on the right things and reward them. Like, hey, if you're locked in on the big rocks, then son, go ahead, play yourself out, And if you take it too far, then I'm going to check you and I'm going to bring you back into space a little bit, right? But encourage your parents out there. Let your kids game because there's so many advantages. And I answered a random post last night on Twitter. I woke up at like 3 a.m, went to the bathroom, I checked Twitter. It's just what I do. It is what it is. And somebody had talked about, hey, my high school, is not adopting esports, right? Give me some selling points or some advantages to esports. And I replied back. And I said all those things, right? You got teamwork that's going to happen between the players, right? Obviously, there's hand-eye coordination involved. There's critical thinking involved because you have to think in these games. There's strategy to it, right? This works your mind as much as anything, and it puts them in a social situation where they're dealing with other people as well. So where they may not have, went out and played football or basketball, maybe they don't have physical gifts like that. Maybe they got the mental gift to do it, right? So support your kids, right? Support your kids, but set good guidelines around it. This is just asinine to me, but I'm not surprised. Like Tony said, I'm not surprised China takes an angle like this.
Yeah.
Not surprised at all. I
Yeah.
mean, whatever, I guess. But I thought it was just crazy. I just had to put that article in here for this week because I don't know if you guys know like what's and this has been going on for a while. This is the newest tightening of the wrench, so to speak, for the Chinese government on kids playing games over there.
You made a good point there, though, with the sports. Like, not every kid is gifted athletically, you know?
Right.
There's other ways kids can contribute and play kind of a sport in the sense that helps them socially and helps them mentally as well. Like, that feeling of just success when you win and even the loss when you go down and somebody still gives you a pick me up. Don't worry, you get it next time. Or you know what I mean? Like that sense of feel of being involved in a team, being involved in something that's really special to you, that's what sports is about. It's not always being the most athletic, it's also using your mind. And having that, that you can't, there's nothing that could take that away from you. And that's a really good point that you made, that and parents don't see that. Parents just see athletics, or they see it one way because that's how they grew up. But sorry, boomer, but it's not, that's not how the times are nowadays. We evolve with the times. And this is one of those things where kids are passionate about this stuff and they want to play. As long as they're respectful of your parents, respectful of the things you got to do in life, along with doing those things, I see no problem with my kids doing that stuff if they wanted to do that.
Not every kid, not your kid's not always going to be the high school star quarterback or the point guard that leads the team. Insert situation here. It's not always going to happen, right?
Yeah.
Not everybody's built physically like Derrick Henry running the football for the Tennessee Titans like a huge man, right?
Yeah.
Not everybody pops out like LeBron James with lots of physical, like a physical specimen. Let your kids do what they're going to do, right? Put limits on them, right? Because you can limit them smartly as a parent, but encourage them to grow. Man, okay, I better get off of here. I'm going to have another hot take. I feel it coming. Let's moving on to Call of Duty Warzone. It's reportedly making 5.2 million cool ones a day in revenue. Wow. Recent study by NetBet says the Call of Duty Warzone's raking in 5.2 million, I say it again, daily in revenue. Just when you think frustration over hacking and big streamers trying out other games would put a dent in what they're doing, think again, buddy. They're making all kinds of money. The report shows that Warzone saw the biggest year-over-year increase of any other game. It increased revenue by 196% between physical and digital purchases. Over the last 12 months alone, it generated $1.91 billion in revenue. That puts the game making on average $3,633 per minute. Per minute. We keep talking about this game and blah, 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 but I don't think everybody's bought in because they're showing with their pocketbooks and buying the in-game stuff. They're very good. Now we really know why there's three new skin packs a day in the store, right? Because people actually go and buy them. I see them as a nuisance, and I wish they do it like Apex. We can clear them all with one click of the button. But this is why they don't. They want to go tease you because they might hook you on one and get you $20 for that skin pack or whatnot. The next most lucrative title in the study, EA's FIFA 20, which is netting $2,054 a minute, and GTA 5, baby, it sticks around in third place with $1,733 per minute in revenue. That's a lot of money being spent on games. What do you think, Tony?
FIFA 20 does not surprise me because that's global.
Yeah.
People love soccer globally. Absolutely. So in that game with they had their own version of like Ultimate Team kind of thing where you play with the best of like a card trading. It's almost like Pokemon soccer or Pokemon football. I call it the Madden MUT, like that kind of mode, that Ultimate Team stuff where you're playing with cards basically, but playing with the players. That is crazy because people buy packs trying to unlock Ronaldo and trying to unlock all these star soccer players, Messi and all these people, I hope I said that name right. But anyways, that does not surprise me. GTA 5 does not surprise me as well. Warzone though, I can see it because Call of Duty is such a phenomenon, that people that love Call of Duty so much, it's almost like a cult following, they love their Call of Duty. They don't care what it's like. Some people are just diehard. They don't care if it's broken. They don't care if things go wrong. They just play it and they don't care. Yeah, look, you're raising your hand. There's some people that like me. I gave up after Black Ops 2. I was done. I threw in my Call of Duty card. I did play some Warzone, but I wasn't a fan, so I threw in my card again.
Mm-hmm.
But I just stay away from it. But yeah, I can see it. I do understand why they could make so much money because people love that game, man.
I don't contribute monetarily to them though. I buy the game originally, so that's my contribution, and $10 for the first battle pass that comes out. Because as you play through the battle pass for the next season, if you play enough, you're going to earn enough CP or coins or whatever it is to buy the next one. And then so you only have to invest $10 one time as long as you're playing the game. But the skin packs and whatnot, I mean, you see them all the time. The tracers always make fun of people with tracers.
I don't even know what that is.
So when your gun shoots a bullet, the tracer goes out, like in real life, like you can see tracers to see where it's going in night and at night. They have all kinds of different colored tracer packs and all kinds of stuff.
Oh my goodness.
And people get off on that and they buy it. They love it, and that's why this company continues to make so much money. And partially, I think it's part of the reason why, the money's coming in. Speak with your dollars, folks. Don't speak with complaining on the internet about hackers. Speak with your dollars. Dollars is what hurts them. Stop buying packs.
Yeah.
I don't know when this generation is going to learn that if you want to get something done, stop spending your money on it. Your dollars make the difference, folks. Yeah. The dollars make the difference.
People are so competitive that they'll spend a bit of money to just have any bit of being on top. So they'll just spend and spend and spend because they think that actually is what helps them. And it's not. It's just play the game. If you want to play the game, that's fine. Play the game and get better, but don't spend money on it to try to be on top because it's not going to work that way.
I'm going to give Bert Kreischer a plug here. I don't know if you guys know him or if I said his name exactly right. He's a comedian. He's filthy, by the way. So if you go looking for it and you listen to him, don't hold me accountable, but he's got a potty mouth, but he's hilarious. And he has a segment called Secret Time. There's an actual show, an episode called Secret Time. So I'm going to do Secret Time. Secret Time right now, I don't get into playing FIFA because I understand that as I see those cards and I see people building their teams, I will not be able to withstand the pressure to get those cards and buying packs to get those cards and doing those things. I know that will be a money pit for me. So you know what I don't do? I don't get FIFA. I don't play FIFA. I don't do it because I know that is going to be a money pit for me, and I am not going to do that. Secret Time.
I do the same thing with Madden. I refuse to play MUT. One, because I don't like that. I like playing good old franchise mode, and I don't even play people online because to me it's boring. They run the same plays. It's just boring. Yep. I like playing Madden by myself. I try to adjust the sliders on the AI to make it a nice, good competitive game with myself against the AI, and I have fun guiding my franchise to glory. I don't need MUT or Ultimate Teams or trying to play with players in the past. I don't need that.
Absolutely. Well, it's time for, as we move, it's talking about playing video games, it's time for Tony's favorite segment of Part of the Noobs. Can you guess what it is, Tony?
Esports. Let's go.
Esports, baby. Let's go.
Let's go.
All right.
Off-season time.
Off-season time for the Call of Duty League. It's time to talk about that a little bit. So, champs happened a few weeks back. We know the roster mania was going to ensue. Just like any sport, the off-season, people getting dropped, people changing teams, people signing free agents, trades going on, you name it. And I'm your authority on Call of Duty League and roster mania. What's going on? I'm just going to bring you up to date so far on what we have. I'm actually going to talk about other moves in the league before I talk about, because I want to leave this for last. I think I ordered this probably wrong. So I'm going to talk about some other moves that have happened in the league. Not everybody's made moves, by the way. Not everybody. But we're going to start with the LA Guerrillas. So for Vanguard, the new game coming out, the new Call of Duty game that's going to come out in November, they've got a new roster announced. And remember how I always bagged on the LA Guerrillas, completely bagged on the LA Guerrillas all the time, because they were the toilet bowl of the league. I mean, they were just, it was bad news bears, right? These guys are, ouch. New roster looked very promising. So they got Slasher, Gunless, Asim from what team, Tony? New York what?
New York Stand Up.
New York Stand Up. The Subliners apparently didn't need Asim. That was one of Tony's players that he actually liked as he's watching him play this year. Going to the LA Gorillas, along with Hook, that played in Dallas and had the turmoil with Dallas and the teammates there. So Slasher, Gunless, Asim, and Hook are going to be playing together in LA. Looks like a pretty solid team there, and looks like they probably won't be circling the toilet bowl as long as they can play together, right? The Minnesota Rocker, no surprise here, returns Major Maniac, Attach, Dandy, and Priesta. So a solid map game there in Minnesota. Atlanta FaZe, no changes needed. They just won the title. These guys are ready to go do another one. The only thing they have is a substitute. They need to name a substitute. So Tony, maybe you can get your Call of Duty League stats up. Maybe you can go play in the CDL in the multiplayer matches. Maybe Atlanta FaZe will come get you. Toronto Ultra looks to be unchanged with their team as well. So we do have some changes with New York Stand Up. Yeah, he just heard that Asim was leaving, had been turned loose or whatnot. I'm not sure exactly what happened there, but he's no longer with them. Move on to the LA Gorillas. So that leaves a spot in with New York Stand Up. So we're going to be bringing two people back together. This isn't official yet. This is strongly rumored to be true. New York Subliners look to acquire Crim 6 from Dallas. So Crim 6, the winningest monetary-wise player of all Call of Duty League history, right? Crim 6 is the AR of fashion right now. Going to rejoin Clayster as they used to be together 2 years ago when it was 5-banger, not a 4-banger as far as teams go, along with Hydra and Neptune for New York Stand Up. So that's going to be interesting to see a couple of vets down there playing with Hydra and Neptune to see what New York looks like this season. So going to kind of crack open some of the bag here. LA Thieves, or the 100 Thieves brand, just announced their starting lineup, I believe, yesterday. So Kenny Quavo, Octane, Draza, and Envoy from Optic Chicago. He moves to LA after being released from Chicago about a week ago. So Kenny, Octane, Draza, and Envoy going to be getting together with the Thieves. The Thieves just got a whole lot better, in my opinion, with Envoy there. Sad to see him go, but understand that moves have to be made. So that brings us to kind of a new conundrum. So I won't get into all the fixins of it, but if you follow it at all, basically the ownership group that owns the Chicago Optic team, the spot in the franchise, is putting it up for sale. So there'll be a new Chicago team this year. Some of the Chicago brand and Optic Gaming, the name, are going to move down and basically kick out Dallas Empire's name. And it'll probably be Optic Dallas, Dallas Optic, some kind of form of that, right? You already heard Crim 6 is out, right? He's going to New York, right? So there's going to be a new team formed down there. And it's going to be partially Optic. It's going to be 2 Optic and 2 Dallas, which is very interesting. So we're looking at Scump and Dashy sticking together from Optic, right? And then Shotzi and Illy from Dallas will be that new Dallas team moving forward. That is as an Optic fan, I am drooling on myself putting those 4 together. It should be a very good move there. So if you notice, I left one name out of the Optic brand, Tony. I left one name out. He's been in the league forever. He's been Scump's teammate for a long time. I mean, for crying out loud, you know, they have their own nickname for the duo, T2P, Time to Pound, right? Time to pound their opponents into the ground, basically. So moving back up, want to give a heartfelt thanks to Formal. So Formal is actually retired. We saw this a couple weeks ago. Want to give him his own spot here on the show. On August 28th, Matthew Piper, also known as Formal, half a T2P, as I mentioned. He's retired. He's done. He's not going to play competitive COD anymore. He's just moving on from the competitive scene. He's been in it for a long, long time, back to Halo days. In fact, Formal began his competitive career in Halo with the Halo franchise. That's how old Formal is in the game. And we talk about when esports and Call of Duty League, I mean, when you start getting your mid-20s, you're already considered old. So put that in perspective. If that, I'm twice as old as some of those players, at least. So it is what it is. He rose to fame as a Halo professional. Looked to begin elsewhere. Following Halo's fall from the Major League Gaming pro circuit, right? Some of you guys might remember that. He noticed the rising popularity of the Call of Duty League, right? Like many Halo players looking for a place to go, Formal tried his hand at it. And what do you know? He was really good at it. And the world's most popular first-person shooter. He was the first competitive FPS player to win a major LAN event in both Halo and Call of Duty, right? He earned this on August the 3rd, 2014, when he won Gfinity 3 as part of Team Envy. Formal has 22 major championship wins. So there's a thing. Wow. Like Crim 6 is the most money-making player. He's a little later on. The dollars got bigger, right? Formal's a little older school. So some of his championships weren't worth as much coin because it wasn't as popular yet. He's one of 6 players to be part of the Optic Gaming dynasty. And when I mean that was just a heck of a run. Winning 18 total tournaments during that span. His COD career did make him over $3.5 million from 13 to 21. So, wow, very successful guy. Very successful guy. Even though he was earlier on, he still made $3.5 million just playing COD. Much less what he made from Halo as well. So, a sincere shout out and thanks from the part of the Noob Show and myself to Formal. Thank you for what you've done in the esports industry and the gaming industry. You will be missed. However, enjoy the retirement, man. You got all that money. Hopefully you'll stream and we can catch you doing that kind of stuff too. But this guy's in a really good spot with $3.5 million in his pocket just from COD, much less Halo. So that'll wrap up the esports update for today. Unless Tony, do you have any thoughts on that?
It also springs from where we're talking about the whole China ban thing. Mm-hmm. Your kids can make some money off of games. It can happen. I mean, granted, it's just a few of them, but it can happen. That's why you show some support for the kids, that do their things. Also, just teach your kids to do some, do their things in life and show support in what they like as well. And you can see it reaps benefits. This kid probably had supportive parents. Maybe he didn't. Who knows? But, he did his thing. He made some money doing what he'd love to do.
T. Piper, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, sir. All right. Now we're going into the now Jay Gotti favorite part of the podcast.
I've been sucked in. Tony sucked me in. I can't help it. It's Tony's fault. I blame Tony.
And I'll start it off with. So PlayStation had an event this week. It's kind of late news for us because we do our kind of like news at the beginning of the week. But I had to throw this in there because Star Wars Knights of the Republic makes its PlayStation debut with a remake, and I have it right here. I don't have the PlayStation version. I have the Xbox version, but this is the game. It's coming out on, I don't know when it's going to come out, maybe next year or so, but they're doing a remake for the PlayStation 5, I believe, which is going to make me want to get a PlayStation 5, unless that hopefully comes out on PlayStation 4, which it probably won't, but
just get it on
I
PC,
will have to try to get it. What's that?
Just get it on PC.
Or on PC. There you go. I'll get it on PC. But yeah, it's a cool game. I've never played this. Now, granted, I have this game, but I still have not played this. But I've heard it's one of the best Star Wars titles to come out. And I actually have both. I have Star Wars Knights of the Republic 2, and I know they're going to remake that. And if they remake this, I'll be happy too, because I'll be able to play both. But yes, I am excited. It's going to be, they had a trailer for it. There wasn't really much to the trailer other than the you'll see it on the graphics there, that guy in the screen, the Jedi sword just like kind of, the lightsaber comes, just illuminates, and then that's it. And they show his face. But I'm pumped. I am pumped to play a game, and especially when now it's going to be in crystal clear HD. Oh, can't wait. And I think you ordered the game, didn't you?
Yeah, we were talking this morning. I was like, you know what? I don't actually have that in my collection. So 1 and 2, $10 a pop. They'll be here this week. You'll get to see me unbox them on stream at some point this week because, yes, that was. I'm not sure what happened to my original copy, but that's the best Star Wars game I've ever played. Period. And I know a lot of people still hold that opinion as well.
Yeah. And in other retro news, a new Lego item is being released. They've been doing a lot of Nintendo stuff as of late. They've done the NES Classic, the Lego set. They've done some Mario and Luigi sets, and now they're coming out with a Super Mario 64 set. It's basically this really cool looking cube, and it opens up. Well, you build it, and then it opens up into like one of the iconic Lego levels, or I'm sorry, Super Mario 64 levels. It's fully buildable. It's not one of those pieces that comes already made. It requires a little finishing off. You need to put every little piece together, including King Bomb. Sorry, I can't even say that word correctly. Cannons from the legendary Bomb Battlefield level. This set is about reliving one of the most iconic games ever. It's all about level design and pays homage to the genius minds over at Nintendo who first invented these immersive worlds back in 1996. It looks really, really, really cool, and I think I'm gonna get it.
Yeah, we did show the video on the stream while you were talking through there, Tony,
Yeah.
and it looks amazing. It looks really cool.
Yeah, it looks so cool, and that's a perfect if you're a collector, if you like collecting like nostalgic things like video game wise and things like me, that is a really cool piece to put on the shelf somewhere and near your wherever you put your retro games or your retro stuff. It's just cool. Very cool.
Great.
All right, going on to tech talk. So there's a console coming out. It's been around. It's been announced for a while. This thing has taken a while to take. Basically, it's been reviewed by people like it. It was sent around to certain like YouTubers and reviewers and things like that. It's been out for a while, but it's not actually out to the public. The pre-orders have been around for a while. It's gone through some hassle. Like I guess it went through Walmart, but then Walmart didn't want to sell it or something happened with it, and there's been all kinds of controversy with it. But it's finally coming out September 12th. It's called the Poly Mega, and this is a console that plays CD-based games, like retro CD games, and those games are PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, I believe, Sega Saturn, Sega CD, and TurboGrafx CD, and Neo Geo CD. So this console has just everything. And then it has like these modules that come with it as well that you can buy separately or you can buy it all together in the deluxe set. And that's the NES Element module, the SNES Element module, the Genesis 32X module, and the TurboGrafx 16 or PC Engine TurboGrafx 16 Element module, which will play actual TurboGrafx cards. It'll play Genesis cards, 32X cards. It'll play Super Nintendo and Nintendo cards, depending on the module. It's kind of like a put together thing. Like you take off the module, click on the next module, and you'll be able to play. It comes with certain controllers too for each module you can buy, or you can plug in. I think you can plug in your actual controllers too to it to make it work. I believe it has Bluetooth as well, so you can play with Bluetooth controllers. And the base model, which is just CD based, you play all your CD based games on it. It's $449, and the deluxe, when it comes with all those 4 other modules that I was talking about, is at $649. It's a very expensive item. I will say it's a very expensive item, but it does play a lot. So if you don't want to go out there and find a Sega Saturn, you don't want to go get a PlayStation or try to look for a TurboGrafx CD, which, by the way, almost impossible. And along with Neo Geo CD, then this is the system for you because you can just play all those games if you find the games, or you can actually, some people have burned the games. I don't recommend this, but some people have burned those games and played it on it as well. It will play them depending on how you actually do it. That it's not encouraged by that company. They don't want you to do that because it's a game that basically takes your CD. It kind of burns it within the system and it plays off that. So it basically emulates on the system. It's not an actual like PlayStation or Sega Saturn where it actually plays it. It burns it inside and it has the form to be able to play the emulation off of it. So yeah, it's basically a glorified emulator.
What kind of output does this have, Tony? What is it? How does it get to your monitor?
It's 1080p output. It's HDMI out, and it will be connected to the internet as well. I believe you can download things to the system as well. So that's another reason why you should be careful putting burned games in there because this thing's attached to the internet.
So for somebody who's looking to stream maybe some of these older games, is this actually a pretty cool console, right? You can get a lot of
Oh yeah,
different kinds of carts and that kind of stuff because it's very difficult to get the proper resolution out there, and there's a lot of things that help us convert that. But you have an all-in-one solution here. If you've got the
yeah.
games for
Complete all
$649
in
for
one.
all of those systems listed, this really isn't that terrible of a deal if you're looking to go in that direction.
Yeah. And the 32X, I don't even have a 32X for the Genesis. I don't have a Neo Geo. I don't have a TurboGrafx. The TurboGrafx, I mean, you could play TurboGrafx CD and the cards, the actual carts, they look like little cards and you slide them in.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't even have any of that stuff, and I wouldn't mind. I've been thinking about it, but it's just that price is just in my mind. It's hard to wrap around that price and pay that much for a console. But yes, it's an all-in-one solution. Literally, all you need is one thing. You can, store your consoles or put them to the side, let them be on display while you just use that to play them.
Absolutely.
Definitely. And also in Tech Talk, we have a TV that's been out for a little bit, but it's a little Android TV made by Sampow. It's the TJ800. It goes for $160. Now this thing is basically smaller than maybe a normal phone with a 3.5-inch screen. It's basically a little device you hold in your hand, basically, and you can see it there. It's literally the guy holding in his hand, but you can connect anything with an HDMI signal to it, basically, and it also has it's connected to the internet, has Wi-Fi built in, and you can connect it to your Wi-Fi, and you have all kind of Android TV. It's Android 7.1 it runs on, and you can play basically anything with an HDMI signal on it. So you can play all your little retro consoles or retro things on it. It's basically, to me, kind of like a gimmicky thing, because it's so small. But it's really cool to take with you if you're on the go somewhere and you just want to, I guess, look cool whipping out an Android TV and gaming on it with a little 3.5-inch little screen, whatever. But another cool little thing to have in your room on display that you can display. But other than that, I don't know if it's worth $160. Because I don't know. You see the thing on the screen. Would you pay $160 for that?
Yeah. I think I want to send my Game Gear back in and get the screen fixed on it before that. Probably before.
It's a pricey thing, but cool thing for people that that have that kind of money to just whip around, I guess, and throw around. So,
hey,
but I would wait for that price to drop.
The water guys got money. Let them buy it.
Yep. But my other favorite portion of the show is game deals. Mm-hmm. And this month, PlayStation Plus is already out. Already know what the games are. The first one is Overcooked. That all you can eat, and that one is only for the PS5. It's not going to be on PS4. And then there's Hitman 2 and Predator Hunting Grounds, which I am excited for. Actually, both of those. I believe that's the Hitman 2 remake. So that one's going to be really, really, really cool to play along with Predator. I've seen some streams of Predator Hunting Grounds. It looks fun. So I definitely want to get those two games to play. And for Xbox this month, the Xbox games with gold. If you have a gold membership, you get free games. The first one's Warhammer Chaos Bane, and that's from September 1st through the 30th. The next one is Mulaka, and that's from September 16th through October 15th. Then there's Zone of the Enders HD Collection, and that's from September 1st through the 15th. And then a really good fighting game, like this is a big Neo Geo thing, actually. Samurai Showdown 2, and that one is from September 16th through the 30th. So really cool games to download, especially a Samurai Showdown. That's a really, really cool fighting series. Definitely.
As we wrap up the show, I got something I want to talk about here in a moment. But first, let's Tony, what do you got going on this week? Let's kind of wrap up what to look for us in the coming week.
This week I'm probably gonna do another GGR takeover if they'll have me, and I think I'm gonna stream this week. I think I'm gonna stream on my own actual channel. So if you want to come check me out, There's you can always search me on any platform, whether it be Twitch, YouTube, Instagram, which I post a lot of pictures of my retro collection on there. Facebook, anywhere. It's always OptimusMagnum. Search that and you will find me. And Twitter as well. And you'll see when I'm streaming or when I'm doing things. Pay attention to those things because I do random streams. I'm not on a schedule, so I just pop in there and say hello.
That should not. I've been waiting to sub to you for actually put in the chat. I do sub to you regardless, but because it's set up that way to reoccur. But looking to actually drop in your chat for some time, it seems like. And of course, Thursday you were doing it on the Good Game Report channel, so I couldn't do that. But good to see that you'll be on out there on Twitch doing your thing this week. Make sure to try to get in there and drop my sub for you. Me this week, I'll be streaming like normal, but making the weekly quad feed, the new mashup videos named the quad feed because we've got Warzone, Call of Duty multiplayer, Apex Legends, and Splitgate. Always excited to play Splitgate. So I've done 3 streams of Splitgate and they've done really well. Enjoy playing that game. It's pretty fun. The Halo Portal, baby, is pretty cool to play. As always, the only thing I'll ask from you guys is get on the Good Game Reports top 10, right? Watch the shorts. Watch our PTN shorts. Be YouTube monsters for us for the Good Game Report channel. And selfishly, go watch mine. I put out like 6 a week and a wrap-up video every week. Really means the world to me as I continue to move my quest on YouTube up to 632 subscribers now. So it's continuing to grow. We've had like 77 in the last month. So I really appreciate all of you that are already out there doing that, out there in the YouTube support squad and other places. Please, if you're doing anything, watch the GGR shorts and watch my shorts. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. The producer, do you have anything you'd like to say today about maybe what you might be doing this week?
Oh, my camera's a little off. Anyway, just check out Geek Corner on Monday. As far as I go, you can check me out anywhere at PeterBite__. Yeah, as the weather's cooling down, which actually today is probably one of the first days where it's absolutely not hot in here. I'm gonna probably try to start streaming more, and just in time for Halloween. I like the Halloween season because I like horror stuff. Not necessarily the holiday, but I just like the horror stuff. So you might see me scaring myself for some reason.
Always love to see that.
Yeah. Other than that, check out the Good Game Report. That's all I can say.
Yeah, appreciate it, Mr. Producer. Thanks for all you do, keeping this show rolling the way it does. We'd be remiss today, being Americans, if we didn't remember this day. Today is September 11th. 20 years ago, something happened here that was like no other time in our time living on this planet that's ever happened. Today is Patriot Day, remembering September 11th. Over 3,000 lives lost that day. A lot of lives changed permanently. Millions of lives changed. I remember when it happened, where I was, and all the things around that, and what's ensued since. Right, the world got turned upside down that day, and I know it happened to us specifically. But keep your thoughts out there about that. A lot of people lost their lives trying to save lives in crumbling buildings and in bad situations, and want to make sure that part of the Noobs today recognize the fact that today is Patriot Day. Honor that how you honor that, and appreciate all of you out there that fight for our freedom here in America. We heard about China restricting gameplay for kids. Thank goodness we have a country here where we can do that. We can do what we want. We can have a show like this. We can come out here and express our opinions and whatnot in the gaming world, and man, it's how sweet it is. So Tony, any closing thoughts on that?
I agree 100% with what you just said. And I remember as well where I was that day. It's crazy how you remember specifically that day, and everything in the events, what you did and what you were doing that day and how you felt. It was just that was a rough day.
It's a very rough day for everybody. Every American, no matter where you're at, everybody was on high alert. Airports got shut down. You're wondering, I live in Wichita, Kansas. So at the time, McConnell Air Force Base had the big B-1s here, right? So we're considered a target, if you will, as far as the military goes. Colorado's just next door, and all the stuff that's there. It was a scary time. It was honestly a scary time because you didn't know what was coming from where. It was just complete surprise and shock about what went on. So, thanks to everybody who actively, thanks to all law enforcement, firefighters, all the people out there in medicine, helping us through the COVID pandemic. If you're out there in the service industry of any kind that helps America be better, helps keep us safe, thank you from the bottom of our hearts. Mr. Producer, do we have somebody lined up to raid today?
I do. He's currently playing Splitgate, which I'm going to start the raid right now, so we can start warming up. But he's playing Splitgate. He looks like he's a WoW player, actually, on a normal basis. Okay. Oh, WoW and Apex is what he has in his description. But he seems nice. I was listening to him while you guys were doing your show. Because I do a lot of that in the background, too, to prepare.
Absolutely appreciate that.
But yeah, he seems really nice, and I think you guys will enjoy him.
Very cool.
Let's do the darn thing. This is episode 13. We will not be here for the next 2 weeks because I'm a traveler. Next week, we're going up to... I promise the wife will go to a Royals game once a year, even if they're terrible. So I get her good seats behind home plate. We do that once a year. Next week is the week for that. And then we're going out to a college football game the following week in Oklahoma. We're going to see Kansas State and Oklahoma State play football. Wonderful environment down there in Stillwater. So you'll have a couple weeks away from us. We'll be out there putting out shorts, right? LinkedIn content, shorts content, YouTube, you name it. We'll be out there. Make sure you support it. And we'll be back on here. I believe it's October 2nd is the next show here in 3 weeks. So hope everybody has a great week. Thanks for the Twitch folks here in the chat that are spending it with us. And then those of you that are watching this later in the week, thank you, YouTube. Thank you for those listening on Anchor and other platforms. We appreciate you. And this is episode 13, a part of the Noobs signing out. We're going to raid. See you later, everybody.